When we're talking about fasting, one of the biggest misconceptions is people thinking that you're starving yourself.
Right.
And that's not the purpose of fasting.
Right.
The purpose of fasting is not starving yourself to be able to lose more weight.
Right.
Because if you don't use it as a tool, you could actually end up gaining more weight.
Absolutely. Your metabolism slows down and then you end up, it backfires.
Right. So you definitely don't want to starve yourself. I think anybody who wants to do it, kind of like do your research on fasting. And one of those biggest things are certain things that break your fast.
Yeah.
It's kind of set like a healthy timetable. And I think during the fast as well is that if like you start to feel stressed out or feel like you need food, go eat something. Yo, thanks for locking in. Today we back here with my co-host on Gym Life, Miss Sophia. Today we're going to be talking about some of our personal experiences and our own personal approach to wellness to help simplify it and make it a lot less confusing for you. Let's vibe out.
Jyim.
So.
What's up?
What is up with you?
A lot.
But
no, we're here now.
I love it. You know what's funny is this like contradiction between ourselves and the people we work with, where we're like, make sure you get your rest, make sure you chill, make sure you're not overworking yourself. And they look at us like, well, what about you? We like, listen, I told you, do as I say.
We're not talking about me. We're talking about you. You. That's what's going on right now. Yeah, don't worry about me. I'm good.
I'm telling you, what's your week looking like as far as, and I say this because we always have these conversations as far as like, we go hard one week, then we may rest one week,
right.
We may be on a protein base. Like, what's your week looking like right now?
This week is looking later than usual as far as like, I'm actually deloading this week. So usually I like, you know how I told you about like strength training and I've been lifting more. But this week I'm very intentional about less weights, more running, more recovery. I could use a little bit more sleep. But, you know, it's fasting. I'm fasting and doing my 24-hour fast on Mondays to start the week off straight. So this week, I would say to sum it all up, has been more of a lighter week for me.
More of a lighter week.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that I think we try to stress to other people as well as ourselves is that every day and every week doesn't have to look the same. You got to pay attention to your body. Even for myself, I like to go super hard. But at those moments when I feel like, all right, let me take a step back for a little while, I'll honor that. So even if it's like using less weight on an exercise, I know I could do more weight.
Right.
You know, you get more out of it by just listening to your body.
Yes, that's key. Listening to your body.
Yeah.
That's key. Right.
I'll tell you. I remember that when I started working with one of my clients, he was like, all right, when are we going to go hard? I was like, listen, the first couple of months, I just want us to understand what going hard is.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to go with, you know, your max and then scale it back and then kind of feel out what your body can take. You know?
Everybody wants to go hard. And
Get
it's
those
like,
results now.
Right. And that always shows you like where they, like how new they are to this whole fitness thing, right?
Yeah.
Because anybody that's been doing this for you and I have been doing this for a long time. Yeah. That is not the way to go for longevity.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Not sustainable. You use that as a tool. Like those times when you push and hit your max, that's when you feel good. You got all your rest. You got all your proper nutrients. Then you push because you know what you're doing.
Right. And there's so many other things to account for. Like like rest. Are you even getting enough rest? If you're not getting enough rest, you probably shouldn't be going hard every day.
Yeah. All right, well, today you already know we're going to get it in.
All right, let's get it, Jyim. Let's get it.
We're going to be using one dumbbell today. I picked mine already, so I'll go through the exercises. And then after that, you could decide which dumbbell you want to work with.
Okay, cool.
Right? First, we're going to go plyo lunges, right? So we're here. We are going to step back here. 10, 9, 8. Everything for 10 reps. After the plyo lunges, we're going to be down into plank jacks, where we're going out and in.
Okay.
After the 10 plank jacks, then we're going to be going to squat snatches. That's when we'll grab the hand weight, and we're going to go 10 on each side.
Okay.
So we're going to squat down here, tuck the pelvis up. We'll go 10 on the right side, 10 on the left side. And then after that, we're going to go for back jumps. So we'll be here, squat, back jump, tap, squat, back jump tap.
Woo.
Everyone's going to be 10 reps.
Some
all right?
cardio
Listen,
today.
I'm telling you, when you come through, you know I'm going to put something together where we get it
You
in.
better, Jiva. I did tell you it's light week today, but we're not dealing with a lot of weights.
No.
It's been cardio day, so this is good. This is right in my, it fits right well with my program.
Good. All right, so you pick your weight. I'm going to start the top.
Okay, I'll grab my weights. Let's see, 15.
You got it?
Yes.
Nice. All right, time is starting. We'll start off with our warm-ups. We start off on our back.
Okay.
And we'll go with the supine twist.
All right. My favorite twist. My favorite stretch.
Oh, yeah. So very, very necessary. So as far as rest and recovery, I know we talk about that a lot. Right? And I think a lot of times people think that when we're talking about rest and recovery, it's almost like a baseless type of advice.
Yeah.
When people don't understand the science behind it. And I don't want to get too science-based today. I want to keep it very light as far as the conversation so people can understand.
Yeah.
But the science behind rest is you stress your body out every time you work out, even though it's a good stress.
Right.
And the magic happens when you're resting.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, somebody, I wanted to do a quick plug. Like somebody said recently that rest, the way they look at rest is more of a preparation.
Like I like that.
And for some people, hey, rest is rest, and they might be great with that. You know, like they get the concept and they're at peace with what rest is and the importance of it.
Right.
But when they said that, I actually like the way they framed it because preparation is if you want to continue to perform better, right? Optimize your endurance, your health. That prep is necessary.
Very.
And that prep happens when you're resting.
Yes. That is a big part of framing how you look at things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we think something is, oh, I'm being lazy, then it's not going to give us that incentive to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. When you make rest synonymous with laziness, that's the problem.
That's the problem. And everything's a balance, right? Like you never want to work too hard and you never want to rest too much either.
Right.
So people saying like, good, rest, got it, turn it off, we got it.
They said rest. Yeah.
Like, no. So
they said to rest this week. So all calories, all kinds of food. Okay. We'll make it up next week. It's fine.
We heard 2 professionals, they told us, rest, we got it. Then we'll go down to the child's pose.
Very selective with our hearing, right?
So you know what's funny? I think we've been working together for years now.
Yeah.
And I've never asked you what your personal pathway was like as far as getting into fitness and wellness, just personally. Not as far as a profession, but your journey is getting in shape. Like, were you in shape your whole life? Did you take a turn at a particular age?
Yeah.
Like, how did you really get into the space you're at now?
It's really been a journey, and I say that because as an artist, I don't have a regular schedule. And there was a point in time when I was very unrealistic with the program that I would set up for myself. Like, oh, I want to do that where they have a 5-day program where 5 days a week they do strength training and then they run and then they hike. And it's like very regimented, right? Oh, and then the meal prep. And I'm like, I can do that. But it got to the point where I was like, oh, wait, this isn't realistic for me because some days I would only get 4 hours of sleep. Some days I would only get, my schedule just wouldn't allow for that type of consistency.
So you saw a program that you liked.
Yeah.
That resonated with you. And then when you started doing the program, you realized like, hey, the program's cool, but my day-to-day life and my spirit and my person is not aligning with this program all the way.
It's literally like going to buffet. And for me, it's been like now I see it's like going to a buffet and you just pick and choose what works best for you.
Yeah.
Like there's no, and then now we're going to diet, which is like a whole nother topic, but there's no, for me, there hasn't been like a cookie cutter version of a diet that I've really been able to follow and maintain for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's important when we say that because so many times we get people, especially when like documentaries or new commercialized brands come out and they're like, be vegan, do keto, and they have all these things that they want people to do.
Yeah.
But And then people, we get these phone calls or these text messages or these Instagram messages all the time where people are like, hey, I just seen this new exercise. Hey, I just saw this new vitamin. Hey, I just saw this new food. Should I do it? Is this going to be the magic? And then you have to be constantly reminding them like, yo, nothing is the magic. You're the magic. Right?
It's like, I heard there's a diet where all you eat is fat. I bet that resonated with you, huh? Like that sounds good. All you eat is meat. I mean, I'm not knocking it, right? But it's just like when you haven't done enough research, like, and then like you just hear something, you're like, wait, you're just doing it because it sounded good to you.
Yeah.
But you still have to put your body through it, and then still decide from there if that's even something that works for you.
Exercise.
Yeah, which is big. I think that and we talk about nutrition a lot. Nutrition could be confusing when
Super confusing.
we're sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, a lot of times getting privy to like a new diet or a new, nutrient or something like that. I'm like, oh, no, I never heard of that one.
Yeah.
It's almost like this whole magic approach to it.
Right.
So if that information could be overwhelming for us, I could imagine people out there hearing about whether it's eat all fats, eat all proteins, get rid of proteins, how confusing that could be.
Super confusing.
How do you weed through the information as you get it? We'll go pile on just 10.
Okay. How do I weed through it? I'm constantly learning.
Okay.
I'm constantly listening to podcasts, reading up on every now and then, like research. And then combining that with trying it out for myself, and then seeing how my body responds. But I'm not really, I wouldn't call myself a very structured eater. I've definitely framed it so that I'm more in tune with myself emotionally and mentally, and then that propels me to actually choose the right food for me.
Okay.
Like, for example, if I'm in a really good mental space, if I'm taking care of myself mentally and emotionally, then I'm more likely to, or I'm sticking with my workout regimen, then I'm more likely to choose the foods that are like my body will naturally crave for. Like fruits, right? Less meat, more veggies. Mm-hmm. It took me a while to get to this point.
Get to that point.
Yeah.
So a big part of that is another conversation we always have, we'll go 10, is as far as the impact of stress on your body. Anytime, and I'm talking about negative stress, not the good stress. The stress that causes you to retain fat, the stress that causes your cortisol levels to spike, the stress that has all this negative
I just stopped stressing about what I'm eating.
Right. So the number one thing is, if you hear about a diet or even a particular food, 3, 2, 1, 2, and 1. Good. You hear about a particular food and the thought of being on this particular plan stresses you out, then it's not for you.
No.
Period. I don't care.
If you're stressing over, there's no ways for you.
Thank you. No professional
Just drop it.
has whatever. Think about it like this. If you see a diet or a workout plan or whatever, were you included in that study? Did a professional come to your house and ask you how you would respond to it? If that didn't happen, chances are they didn't take you into consideration specifically.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right. It's so personal, Nutrition is so personal. We're all made so, like, there's so many, like, within our digestive system, within like our microflora, like there's just so many variations that, like, for me to be like, oh, I get bloated when I eat banana or kale, so you probably shouldn't do that. Yeah. Like, who am I to tell you that? That maybe your body thrives off of banana and kale. Yeah. Yeah. So you really have to pay attention to your body. And it really is like it takes so much patience, Jyim. Right? Like, it's not one size fits all.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So where would you say you're at now as far as just your diet period? Like kind of your plan or what you set out for yourself?
The biggest thing right now is getting a very diverse source of nutrients or protein, carbs, and fats, I try to diversify it. So say like, even if let's say this week is a plant-based, mostly plant-based diet week, I'll try to get multiple like different sources of protein. Maybe chickpeas today, and maybe tomorrow is edamame. Maybe the next day is fish. You know, or like, well, that's not plant-based, but you know, I'll make an exception. But just overall, eggs, or you know what I mean. So it's just because I want to be able to diversify and not have to rely on just a couple sources for protein or carbs or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I like that. So diversifying your protein, and that comes after years of trying different proteins and seeing how they make you feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, someone will come to me and they ask, like, you know, I want to go vegan. My question every time is, well, why?
Right, why?
Have you even took the time to really go through that? Not saying there's anything wrong with going down that pathway, but you just want to take your time and figure out why you want to go there. Is it because you have a certain result associated with that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me personally, my mom was vegetarian growing up.
Okay.
So I didn't start having, like, let's say, certain kinds of fish.
Yeah.
And I didn't have chicken or even things like that really.
Dang, so eating, your friends eating that kind of food, being around them was that hard?
Well, my normal was vegetarian.
Yeah.
So I didn't really notice it until I got older.
Okay.
And then when I got older, then I was like, I kind of like this. But this chicken?
Shrimp?
What? Pepperoni? What? Okay, cool, right? And I started messing with it. But then after that, I realized my body doesn't really agree with like pork, right?
Yeah.
So then I kind of just scaled it down after going those different ways. You know?
Right, you pick and choose selectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing is like you're not like going from one extreme to another. You didn't like go all the way into, unless you did, or maybe you did, but still ultimately still had to find like a equilibrium for you, like a play, like a happy medium for you.
Yes, 100%. Which is everything, and we spoke about this before in terms of like the kind of workouts we do.
Yeah.
And aesthetically what we want to look like.
Right.
You know, it's funny. It's like you hear these conversations as far as like forget about aesthetics, worry just about how you feel. Then you hear about like people wanting to look a certain way. I think you have to honor however you feel. So if there's a particular body type or body structure that you want to go for because it makes you feel good, after you've done your research and it kind of connects with you, then go for it.
After you know what's realistic for your body.
Yes.
Then go for it. I love when they're like, I want to lose 100 pounds or weigh this much. And I'm like, when was the last time you weighed that much, first of all? And if they tell me never, and they're like in their 30s or 40s, it's like, okay, where did that goal even come from?
Where did it come from?
You know? Because if you've never weighed that much.
Why?
I'm not saying you could never, but just like, I'm going to pick on your brain a little bit more.
Ask yourself why. Yourself why. I think I went through the phase that every dude goes through where...
Okay, tell me about this phase, Jyim.
Where I wanted to be super bulky. You know what I'm saying? I associate that with straight like beast mode. You know what I'm saying? So when
that was that. You know, that's how you had to prove yourself. You know what I mean?
My goodness. So I remember I would bench in the morning, squat, eat chicken and rice, blah, blah, and then go like, I was like, yo, this is it.
Beans.
You know what I mean? But I felt the difference. Go plow lunges. I felt the difference in my body from when I was playing sports. They're like, my endurance just wasn't there the way it was before. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't go playing jacks. My endurance wasn't there, and more specifically, my muscular endurance wasn't there. So if I had to do anything that required strength over a long period of time, I couldn't keep it there. My explosive strength was there 100%. Right. But my muscular endurance wasn't there. And then after that, I kind of got into fasting. Good. I kind of got into fasting. Then I went the complete other direction where I lost a bunch of weight. I got super, super skinny. Right? So throughout both extremes, I kind of felt what worked for me. It was just kind of in between. So I used to weigh 205 when I was a little bit more muscular. And then when I got super skinny, I was like 165, 170. Which is crazy, right? Now I'm at about 185, and this is where I feel my best. Right? Where it's kind of like a blend between both of them. You
had to get to those two extremes to like really learn like, okay, that first lesson was it's not always about the aesthetics, or if it is, like I said, how realistic and like, is that even the most, is that even like the best way that you can optimize your health, your endurance, your strength, right? Because at that point, you were just focusing on looking.
Oh, it was all aesthetic.
Beasley out here.
It was all aesthetic. If I wanted to come through.
And we'll go to the club and make sure people get out the way.
People get out the way. Or when I gave my dap was strong.
Yeah, that's important. You can't be looking or feeling weak. No.
I can't say to my home woman, you feel that dap? You know what I'm saying? Strong, right?
Strong dap.
Strong dap.
It's a strong dap. You can't be giving out weak dabs. Like, you been eating, Jyim? What happened?
Right?
You been working out or not?
I'm telling you. What's your opinion on fasting and how do you use it?
I love it because for a few reasons. Right now, I'm doing this 24-hour fast once a week.
Once a week?
Ideally Mondays, because I like to start off my week. What I notice is when I start with a 24-hour fast, it kind of sets a tone for the rest of the week, where I'm not craving for certain foods anymore as much. Like, I'm not craving for as much meat anymore. I'm really like, Brussels sprouts has been my jam. Like, or like I'll go broccoli, whatever. Like, I'm more like vegetable, lean meat, like oriented. And like, just like, it's like my body just like recalibrates.
During that time?
Yeah, during that time. And then I'm able to focus. And then I'm able to, and then spiritual reasons for me personally, spiritual reasons, or just getting like downloads, being able to hear myself more clearly, being able to hear God more clearly, you know, whatever is talking to me. It's like, okay, wow, I get more clarity out of that because I'm not so focused on food, I'm not bloated, I'm not so, you know what I mean? My body's not is not digesting too much. I'm giving my body a break to digest.
Yes.
So that's been the biggest thing that I'm able to be consistent with.
Yeah. I think when we're talking about fasting, one of the biggest misconceptions is people thinking that you're starving yourself.
Right.
And that's not the purpose of fasting.
Right.
The purpose of fasting is not starving yourself to be able to lose more weight.
Right.
Because if you don't use it as a tool, you could actually end up gaining more weight.
Absolutely. Your metabolism slows down and then you end up, it backfires.
Right. So you definitely don't want to starve yourself. I think anybody who wants to do your research on fasting. And one of those biggest things are certain things that break your fast.
Yeah.
It's kind of set like a healthy timetable. And I think during the fast as well is that if like you start to feel stressed out or feel like you need food, go eat something. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until you start to figure out where your zone is.
And then maybe next time add an extra hour from where you stop. Maybe you should say 24 hours. Okay, at like hour 16, I felt really hungry. I couldn't focus. Eat your food, and then next time push for 18 hours.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because now you can see where your body is at. So don't do the whole. Don't be stubborn about it.
Yeah.
But wait, tell me what's your journey, because you're big on intermittent fasting.
Huge. I mean, you know me.
Huge on intermittent fasting.
You know me. Like,
there's anybody that does it.
I swear by it.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to me personally.
Okay.
And the reason why is I'm just really big on discipline personally.
Right.
And also, I made a choice, meaning that if there's nothing good to eat, then I'm not going to eat anything at all. And I think that's what happens. Sometimes we become a slave to like our appetite.
Right. Whatever's there. I need to feed my body. I need to feed my body. It's like.
Right. Like, and you could be out running around, and the only thing that's available, and we know, especially in America, you can go to certain stores, and there's literally nothing available that doesn't have preservatives in it.
You know
what I mean? And when that happens, then I'm like, I'm not going to not just because I haven't eaten for 4 hours, go and have a Twinkie or a Snickers. I'll wait until I can get to some whole food.
Yeah, that's discipline right there. That's discipline.
We'll go Plyos.
Okay.
So for me, that was my journey as far as staying with the fasting. And I think the second part of it, 8, 9, 10, is definitely giving my body a break. Right? Like, I just don't feel good when I'm constantly, I finish eating at 9, 10, then I wake up and I eat at 7, 8. My body just doesn't feel good at that moment. So I try to give it a nice break. And it's funny, I have this rule. This may be TMI, but I have to wait in the morning until I go to the bathroom first.
Yeah.
Then after I go to the bathroom, which is usually like clockwork, my body just on there, then I feel, okay, now I can eat. Because imagine you're eating the night before, right? Your body hasn't even finished with that food. Then you're piling on more food in the morning, which I'm not advocating like everybody needs to go for fasting, but I think it's just a thought to kind of entertain.
But you know what? that's how you know you're in tune with your body.
Yeah.
There's research and there's studies that say that experts are saying like to even wait 2 hours after you wake up to eat breakfast. You know what I mean? So that says a lot, which makes sense, right? Especially if you have a regular bowel movement, like get rid of that waste and then replenish your body. And then there's I like this, the 3-2-1 rule. I try to implement it whenever I can. Evening routine, 3 hours before you go to sleep, like stop eating.
Okay.
They say 4 to 3 hours.
Okay, 3 hours before you go. I like this. 3-2. I haven't even heard of this.
Yes, and then 2 hours, you stop drinking, like taking in fluids.
Okay.
And then 1 hour before bed, stop the screen time, like no phone. Of course, it's like the hardest part, right?
Yeah,
Who came up with that? But it's everything. When you implement it, it like makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So you cut out all food 3 hours before you go to sleep.
Yes, ideally,
right?
All liquids.
2 hours before you
drink
go to sleep.
Drink your tea, like 2 hours before you go to sleep. Because imagine like you're drinking tea, even water, like even any fluid, and then you go to bed right after. You're probably not going to get as much of better sleep as good of a sleep quality as you would if your body was had the time to process and digest things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes sense. It just makes sense.
We get 10. This is one of my favorite moves, the squat.
Oh, I love this
like
snatch.
Full body.
Yeah, yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side.
Yeah, this is a whole full body experience.
Oh yeah. So funny story. I'm gonna put her on blast because.
Come on, story time.
That's my dog. So
okay.
She knows. You know Carolina.
Oh yeah, she's a beast.
And Carolina's a beast. She works out hard. Right?
Yeah.
So she was vehemently against fasting, right? like I'm not doing this. She was like, I need my
just
food.
the thought of it, like
yeah. She was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, because you know how we are. We're big on that. Like, if your body or you don't feel connected to it, then don't do it.
Right.
So, and then her training partner, Pearl, was doing it like once a week.
Pearl's a beast too.
Oh, Pearl's a beast, absolute beast. And she was feeling good, looking good. So Randy's like, well, what are you doing? She's like, well, I'm fasting every 24 hours. She's like, oh, I want to try. So I'm not saying nothing. I'm like, okay, go ahead, try. She tries it and forget the results she got. She said she just felt better.
Way better.
More energized.
Yeah.
And then it was like, then she started incorporating that once a week.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, you tried something, it worked for you, and then you felt everything that came with it.
Yeah,
you
know? That's funny because I feel like I didn't realize that she was so against it, because now, like knowing her now, she's so on it. Like,
she's on it, yeah.
You know, and that shows how like really the biggest blockage we have is like what we associate things with.
Yes.
You know, like we think like fasting, 24-hour intermittent fasting, you're gonna die. Like, how are you gonna do your workout? We did a 3-day fast, Jyim.
Remember that?
3-day, and we were working out, weights, cardio, everything. Working.
You're not gonna die.
No.
You're gonna be fine.
We made it. You know, you're gonna die. And people do 7 day, I'm not saying do 7-day fast or 21-day fast, but people do it. Like, the body is amazing.
Yes.
There's so much that like our bodies can do. And until we put it to the test, or kind of like just like eliminate certain things, we won't know how much how capable our bodies are of healing.
Of course.
Yeah.
What would you say your go-to is? And I'm going to ask you this because I get this question a lot, where first of all, there's no magic move, right?
Okay.
So sometimes clients start training me, they're like, I want to look like you. What do you eat? And I'm like, that's not it. It's a lot of shit, right? It's the sleep, it's the eating, it's the exercise, it's everything, right? Yeah. But if we had to pick out one thing that you enjoy as far as like your go-to, when you know like, okay, I want to use these particular foods to get this particular result, what are some of the foods that you eat?
It's going to sound super clean. But no, first of all, I love fish. I grew up eating seafood. So if I really want like a lean protein, my body responds well to fish, eggs. And I love like those sprouted toasts, Ezekiel bread.
Oh, yes.
You know, it's been like a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you just feel so light. You feel like did I just eat like a whole toast? You don't feel anything, but then you feel energized.
Yeah.
I remember when I was prepping for this workout shoot, like a very big shoot.
Okay.
I did what you told me to do, which is incorporate 3 vegetables in a meal. I think 1 protein or something like that, and a healthy fat.
Okay.
And I was doing the intermittent fasting, and I was eating. I swear to God, I was eating every day. I was eating those this Ezekiel English muffins.
Okay, Ezekiel
bread. Yeah,
those are good.
So sprouted, gluten-free, right? And it's ancient grains. Like my body, when I tell you, was snatched to the gods. I was like, every time I think about going back to that weight or like how I look back now, I'm like, I know what I need to get from the store. The Ezekiel bread. Duh.
Toast, you like, okay, let me get Ezekiel toast. You're right. Okay.
It's Ezekiel bread. Yeah.
But you know what's funny is it's really finding those foods that connect with your body.
Yes. Your body will tell you.
Yes. Yeah. For me, it's anytime we combine like a good carbohydrate and a fat. So if I have like sweet potatoes with almond butter,
right,
or like apples and like almonds or cashews, like these are the things that like just resonate with my body.
That's pretty much all you eat, Jyim. Pause. You literally just listed all the things in your grocery list because that's literally all you eat.
I'll be grabbing the cart too, like I'm about to be in there for a minute.
Let's see, cashews, more cashews,
avocado, sweet potatoes. Good, we out of here. Right? Yeah, I'll be going to the register sometimes. The cashier be like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Nothing. Just bring my shit up."
Don't worry about it.
You know?
Just bring it up.
We go pile up just 10. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plank jacks.
Okay.
And I think that awareness and you know, we always talk about mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That mindfulness to your body will let you know that every day is not going to be the same. Like if there's one thing I try to stress to people, 1, your level of stress is not the same every day. 2, your level of movement is not the same every day. Your mood, your happiness, is not the same. So it doesn't make sense to have the same exact regimen. You got to pay attention to how you feel. And it may be a day like, you know what, usually I fast. Like for me, I'll fast like 16 to 18 hours regularly.
Right.
There's certain days I'll go to sleep at, let's say, 9 or 10. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm hungry. You think I'm going to say, no, I'm supposed to fast my 18
another
hours.
4 hours.
Like, no. Like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's your body
day.
telling you. Literally, that's your body telling you, because not every day, like you said, unless you have a set routine to every hour, like you're just going to have different needs each day. Yeah. And then you just make up for it as you go.
Yes.
Okay, if you ate way too much, you went out, we went to have a lot of sushi the night before. Okay, the next day you just work, like do some more weights.
Yeah.
You know, like just or adjust. Okay, I feel like I have enough storage, so I don't have to eat as much as I normally do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah, that's huge.
But the awareness is, I love, let's talk about awareness, because you said mindfulness, but also what I notice about you is you're very disciplined. And we talked about this before, because I was like, wait, what's the key? What's the key? And you said, you are more outcome oriented.
Yes.
Like really more focused on how your body's gonna feel after the fact versus during the time that you're eating and you're indulging.
It's funny you say that, and I think it just coincides with my personality.
Very.
Meaning that, right.
Surprise there.
When I look at food, I essentially look at that food as to how it's going to make me feel after.
Right.
And whenever food doesn't make me feel good after, meaning like I'm tired, I don't have as much energy.
Yes.
That's what I see when I see the food. I don't see the taste.
Right.
I don't see like, oh, this is the food that everybody said was so good.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and be like, shit, I tried this, and last time I felt bloated. Last time I felt heavy. Last time I felt tired. At that moment, that's what I see, and I'm like, I'm not eating that. I'm good.
Right.
You know?
That's the internal dialogue that's going on.
Yeah, that's the internal dialogue.
That's hard. That's hard, but once you start to really live by that, it just all makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
You know what that makes me think of is peer pressure. Oh. Right? And people think peer pressure stops in school. We got 10 back jumps. But peer pressure is at work, with your family. You've decided, hey, I'm going to make an adjustment to the way I eat, whatever it is. And you've come to that conclusion on your own because it makes you feel good. And then you go to an event, you go to a party, and everybody's like, what are you doing?
Oof.
Right?
Yeah, the
now,
guilt.
I think there's a balance, because even myself, when I go with friends and I've been on my diet all week, then if they're having steak and things like that, then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to be a machine or a robot. I'm going to enjoy myself.
Right. You're not going to be the asshole.
No, not going to be the asshole. At the table, eating a salad, everybody's having a good time, right?
Thanksgiving.
Right? But at the same time, I've decided that. They didn't decide that.
Right.
Meaning, if it's, let's say I went out and had a good time and did that on Friday and Saturday, if Sunday comes and I'm with friends or family, they're like, oh, do it again. I'm like, no. I decide when I do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that people really should pay attention to, is you should decide when you go away from your plan. Whew. Don't be out and let other people kind of be like, oh, it's just one. Yeah. No, that's your one. It's not my one, though.
You know what's the biggest thing for me that I've been realizing, Jyim? It's like I'm now like getting more and more, becoming more and more in control of my appetite. Because, you hear people talk about like, oh, it's my girl's birthday, it's my friend's birthday, so we're about to have like this weekend. I already know it's going to be a lot. Who told you that you have to partake, though?
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't be that person, but especially when it comes to like, when there's going to be this type of food or that type of food, like I always would just be like, I'd be like, oh, I just kind of accept it. It's going to be how it is. I'm just going to have to make up for it when it's over. But then like the minute, like even with this fasting, which is why I'm saying like I'm loving the fasting right now, because I'm rewiring and reprogramming the way I talk to myself. Where it's like, okay, I know I'm going to go to this event. Even if there's not much healthy food, I don't gotta, even if it's just donuts and pancakes or whatever, I don't have to succumb to it.
Yes.
Unless my body really is gonna, it needs it, right? Like if I've been eating, like nobody's putting a gun in my head, eat them donuts.
Eat them donuts.
But we already kind of like sabotage ourselves. Like it's a self-sabotage like process where just because you're going to an event or whatever, you're already thinking like, oh, I'm already accepting defeat.
Yeah.
I'm accepting defeat because I have no choice. Like who told you don't have no choice?
You have a choice every time.
You always have a choice.
And I think it's always about kind of learning different ways to say no. What are some ways that you say no when you're out and you know that you want to stick to your regimen?
I've honestly lied.
Okay.
And it's probably not the best lies. Like it'd be like, oh, I just had donuts yesterday. I'm like, no, I've been eating clean. Why am I lying to make other people feel better? You know what I mean? So I've gone through that. But honestly, that's a really interesting question, Jyim. I'm gonna turn that right back to you. Like, how would you? Because I'm still. It depends on who I'm around too.
Okay.
And I'm a foodie, so to me, like I
so
most
for you,
likely.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. So it's still kind of a process for me.
Yeah.
Like how do I respond to that?
Yeah, lying to yourself is never works, right?
It never
because I
works.
feel like people can read through that shit.
At some point, you're gonna run out of excuses. Like she always says, she's on she just ate those donuts, but she hasn't gained any weight. Like what is she talking about?
She just had donuts again.
Every week she has donuts. Like she always got an excuse to not eat donuts, but like.
I'm telling you, I think for me, my favorite one, and I guess this works because we're in LA too, right?
Talk about it.
I always say I'm on a cleanse. I'm on a cleanse, right? So it's like, oh, can you have this? I'm like, no, I'm on a cleanse. So now you've taken away the whole, but just this one, right?
Yeah.
Because now you said like you're in the middle of a plan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then we're back to Charles.
Okay.
And I think it's also important that as we're talking about sticking to your regimen and fasting, that we do want to make sure that people know you want to eat as much as you can. Just try to have it as balanced and as nutrient-based as possible.
Yes.
You know?
Very balanced. I was gonna say I'd be lying to people and like I just avoid social nowadays. I just avoid social events where I know I'm gonna be eating, and I'm like, I got work. But really, it's like I know I'm gonna be tempted, so so like avoiding certain situations or at like environment where you know you're gonna be forced to eat.
Yes.
I definitely have been guilty of that, but no, there's a way to balance it all out, you know?
Oh my goodness. One thing that I think is important to know, one more, and good chest openers, is your body is going to feel hungry when it hasn't gotten what it's looking for. So,
say that again.
So let's say your body is craving certain vitamins.
Yeah.
Whereas vitamin A, K, D, and those vitamins will come from very nutrient-dense foods.
Yes.
Right? Then you go and have something that has none of those nutrients.
Right.
I.e. a bag of chips. Right? Then after that, your body's still going to want those nutrients. It's going to say, hey, I was asking for vitamin
it's gonna
A.
knock, hello.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you think it's like you didn't have enough chips.
Yeah.
So what do? Go back and have more chips.
Go back and have more chips.
Right?
You know what? A trick that I've been doing for a while now is I'll make sure I get those bases covered. And then if my body's still craving for those chips, then I'll have those chips. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But most of the time, by the time I've eaten the nutrient-based foods, I'm like, I don't even have room for the chips. And then like my body's like, okay, enough. Yeah. We don't need those chips. So we don't need the chocolate muffin, whatever, whatever your guilty pleasure is.
Yeah.
Not to say no, don't ever like demonize those as well. I don't think the answer is to demonize the food, right? For me, it's like, let's get the bases covered first.
Yes.
And then see how our body feels after that.
Yes.
Let's get to the greens first. Let's get to the fruits first in the morning. Like first thing you do in the day, if you know that you're trying to be healthy, why don't you make your first meal be like the healthiest meal? Instead of waiting for the end of the day to get to that.
Yeah. When I'm very hungry, the first thing I do is try to have like a smoothie that has everything. Yes. Right? Get my protein, my fats, my carbs, and after that, just like you said, then if I really feel for that treat, then I'll have it. But at first, now I know essentially like how hungry I really am. Yeah. And I'm not just going and just picking out. So it's almost like, have the foods that you enjoy. Try to stay away from processed foods though. That's one thing I'm like,
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic, Jyim.
You know what I mean? And try to have, you can definitely have the foods you enjoy, but I would say always try to like check all your bases first. Try to make sure you're having the proteins, the fats, the veggies, those things. And then, now it's like, now I have my bag of chips.
And also don't be listening or believing everything you see on social media. Just because this person lost weight and they look great and they're saying that they had a pescatarian diet or whatever type, it doesn't mean that that's what's going to work for you. Yeah. Don't let that fool you.
Yeah.
Because that person went through a lot to even get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's even a real result for them.
Yeah.
Or sustainable or desirable result for them.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And they put that shit up there and they're like, here, this is it. And you're like, oh, this is it. Like, no. There's a lot more to this story.
Getting rid of everything in the fridge now. Everything has got to go.
I'll tell you, this one we're going to have to do again because I feel like we can go on with this forever.
Oh, my God.
On different things that people can pick up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good, Jyim. I'm glad we did this.
Of course.
We're just getting started.
All right.